Hey, what's up? It's Comic 95 the Savior, and for this video, I want to talk about something that I find very hypocritical about Japan, and that is the fact that it's like Japanese people, they constantly complain about how they want to use foreigners for their services, but they don't want you to actually like make a life for yourself here and live here permanently, right? But then the weird thing is like when they ask you like, oh, like what do you love about Japan, or like, when do you plan to come back, or how long do you plan to stay here? And like when you tell them like, actually, I don't plan to, I'm gonna go back to my home country, or actually I prefer my country over, Japan, they get offended by that. And it's like, how are you mad at me for not wanting to live here and preferring my country over yours, but at the same time, you get offended if we stay? Like, huh? Like, can you make up your mind? And so, I just feel like, I don't know, it's like they don't know what they want. So on one hand, you're begging people to worship your country, to love this place, but then if they do love it enough to want to live here permanently, then you get angry and you feel like they're ruining and changing the culture. But at the same time, if we tell you actually just like how you prefer your country and your culture, we do too. And I also think that like people get really confused about this, but it's like a big part of why like people praise and pedestalize this place so much is really a lot of it has to do with the fact that you're dealing with tons of poor people from developing countries and countries that lack freedoms that the US already has. America is not perfect by any means, but as an American being here, I actually feel like the quality of life in many ways is actually worse. Japan is fun and it's exciting and there's a lot to do, but if I could only choose one country, without a doubt, I wouldn't hesitate to choose the US for my permanent residence. I feel like people that have, I actually have a video that I'm planning to make about this, about the people that choose Japan over the US, or over their respective home countries, but they come from chaotic backgrounds. Like you have a dysfunctional family, you have, I don't know, problems that exist in your home country. And Japan, for you, at least you think, or you convince yourself, solves most of, if not all of those problems. And for normal people from developed countries, like we can't relate to that. So I just hate the idea that like you're forced to like have to choose, and it's like I can enjoy both countries for different reasons and I can still prefer one over the other. And I feel like Japanese people get that when it comes to their own country, but they get offended when people feel the same way about their own. So like Japan, just like how you guys worship and love your country, but guess what? I worship and love my country as an American, and while I love Japan just as much, I have more love for my home country. And you're entitled to prefer your country and think that mine is worse than yours, and that's okay. But I just find it funny how like they seem shocked, like, really? You don't plan to come back? Actually, no, like I don't. And also like people can live somewhere for a long time and actually not like where they live, but make themselves go through it for the experience, for the challenge, for the money. There's reasons why people choose to be here. In fact, I'll be honest with you, most people won't say this, but I'm pretty sure if you were to do like an anonymous poll of foreigners here and ask them, like not the weeboos inside of like these I Heart Japan groups, but I mean like ask like actual foreign residents here, if the salary and the life was the same in your respective home country, where would you choose to live? And I can assure you, 99% of people would choose their respective home countries. Because even the people that are from developing countries here, they're just so desperate for the money and even the safety here, and the freedom of speech that Japan kind of gives you here, that for them, it's worth it to stay here despite the mistreatment that they have here versus being in their home country. And so for them, they're here basically for the paycheck, not because Japan is this wonderful utopia. And so you have an overabundance of a vocal, loud minority that makes it seem like Japan is the best place in the world, which it is wonderful. But again, like there's things here that just don't exist, like where I'm from. Like for example, I've said this a million times, you cannot tell somebody that they cannot like go into your establishment because they're a foreigner. You can't refuse to rent somebody because of what race or nationality they are, but that's totally legal here in Japan. And before people be like, oh, that's not true, let's stop playing games. Japan has laws that they follow and laws that they don't follow, and that is one of the laws that they don't follow. Technically, it is illegal to discriminate based on that. But let's keep it real. Let's give a better example that you guys can relate to and understand. It is illegal to choose not to hire somebody or to fire someone based on their age or their pregnancy status. But if you live in Japan, either this has happened to you or you know someone that has happened to. Okay, let's not play dumb. It's also illegal, power harassment. It's illegal, to, certain positions for you to get fired for certain things, but they do it anyway. And what are you going to do about it? Well, with that said, talk to some Chinese, Korean, and Indian people, and they can tell you firsthand that they've all had experiences, or they know someone's had an experience with getting rejected based on their nationality and or race. So, and the same thing that goes like for prostitution and whatnot. On paper, it's illegal, but we all know where to go if you want that type of stuff done, and it's right out in the open. Just go to Shinjuku. You can go to Ikebukuro. Really, even a lot of like the outskirt areas have like the little snack bars and whatnot that offer more services than what's actually on display. So anyway, you can play dumb and pretend like you don't get what I'm talking about, but y'all know what I mean. So yeah, it's like, back on subject, people are entitled to like and dislike different aspects of your country, and Japan and Japanese people listening to me right now, just as you like your country more, other people like their country more. Not everyone here is from some poor developing country. Not everyone here is here to make good money. A lot of us are here, such as Americans like myself, because Japan is fun. It's not the best place to live, and contrary to like these like YouTube videos and reels and TikToks, etc., Japan is not living in the future. It's actually living a lot in the past. Like, it's a very analog, anti-digital country. I mean, even the banking sites, they're just now starting to get stuff that we've had online since at least 2004, 2005. But it's like the very smallest, tiniest, minuscule thing, like, allowing credit card payments. We're just like, ooh, wow, Japan is so great for having this. And it's like, how the hell do we get robots and restaurants before we have online banking on the same level that the US has, at least? And it's really funny because like Japan loves to compare itself to the US when it comes to things that they think they do better, but then like they conveniently don't want to compare when it comes to basic day-to-day things that people actually care about and need and use. For example, you're never going to see a video of them comparing banking in Japan to banking in America, because they know that they cannot match how banking is done in America. And not to say that we're the most advanced. There may be things that Europe or South America or somewhere else does better than we do. I'm not saying we're the best at it, but I'm saying, like, you're even trying to say convenient comparisons. For example, Japan loves to compare health. For example, they associate being thin with being healthy, which sure, there is correlation between being a normal weight, but Japan actually has more of an emphasis on being underweight and overconsumption of alcohol than America does. They don't even really use the term alcoholic here. That's pretty much everybody in Japan is an alcoholic, just about. In fact, you're kind of treated as a weirdo if you don't drink here. It's become more acceptable to not drink, but when I say drink, I don't mean like have a drink or two, like a sip of wine. I mean people drink to get drunk on a nightly basis, or at least 2 to 3 times a week minimum. And I mean binge drink, not just 1 or 2 drinks, not just 3 to 5. I mean they will down drinks. And it's really funny because like they act like it's such a big deal to pretend like you don't like to eat food when you go out in public. Like you have to pretend like you're full after one piece, one yakitori stick, one little shish kebab. You have to pretend like you're full after 2 pieces of beef tongue or whatever. And then when it comes to alcohol, it's like, oh, drink to your be as gluttonous as possible. When it comes to beer or wine or cocktails, like have as much as you want. And my brain just doesn't understand. It's like, this stuff is arguably higher in calories, because you can easily consume a ton of calories through alcohol than you can through food, because it's a liquid, it's not as filling. And plus, alcohol makes you have to constantly pee, so you're constantly emptying out your system. So it's actually very easy to get a ton of calories from drinking alone. Not to mention, I believe this is the real reason why they have a lot of stomach cancer cases here, and a big reason why a lot of people are getting cancer here, beyond the fact they've had all these nuclear disasters and whatnot, which Japan also is not honest about. For example, trying to pretend like Fukushima and honestly even Hiroshima are safe. But that's another story. Not gonna go there. But I can't even talk about that with my husband, because his family is actually from Fukushima and he gets a little bit offended, but I'm gonna stand my ground. I don't believe that it's safe to eat food or drink stuff from there, but they've been brainwashed by their government to feel otherwise, and he's my husband, so I want to respect his thoughts and opinions. But since we're here on YouTube and I'm not talking to him, I'm going to tell you guys my opinion. I disagree with the fact that that's safe. By far, I don't think that it is. You could even sell me better on Hiroshima being safer, but you're not going to convince me that it's safe to eat and drink things from Fukushima. I don't believe that. So, anyway, all I want to say is this. Yeah, Japan is wonderful, it's beautiful, it's fun, but not everybody dreams of living here, not everybody dreams of working here. And for a lot of people that did dream of it, after experiencing it yourself, and especially if you've had a lot of bad experiences like I have, it's kind of natural for your mind to change. And I find it funny that it's like they create the problem. Because, for example, I came here all starry-eyed and loving everything about Japan and thinking that I wanted to die here. But then it's like, okay, when you realize that people treat you even worse than your country does, like complete shit, then guess what? Those feelings go away. And it's like, okay, y'all actively mistreat foreigners. And then when foreigners say, hey, actually, I don't want to live here forever, then they're offended. Like, you don't love Japan more than your country? Yeah, just like how you don't love America more than your country. Like, what the fuck? And also, you don't treat people like shit and they want them to praise and worship your country. But granted, actually they do that, and it seems to be working for them so far, because most people do worship Japan. I'm just not one of them. So yeah, that's really it. Just want to like ramble about that for a second because I thought that was really interesting after having a conversation with somebody about that. And it's like, yeah, I don't plan to stay forever. And I made videos talking about this before, but like I just want to like double down on that. It's like you scare foreigners away. You make them not want to live here. You make it hard for them to live here. Hard to have a good life here. Hard to make friends. Hard to date. Hard to get jobs here. Hard to get housing here. And then you're like, you don't want to die here. You don't want to live and work here forever. No, who would? In fact, the only reason why a lot of people do that is because they feel like they have no choice. So, look, I'm going to just keep it real. I find it very hard to believe that the overwhelming majority of people from India, Jamaica, various African countries love Japanese culture so much they wanted to come here. The reality is they don't make a lot of money in their countries, and Japan gives them the opportunity to not only have a safe environment, but an environment where they can make significantly more money, and also the experience here can help them get, visa status in the US. I've literally talked to people that were telling me that, including people from the Philippines too. Like, it's not just black countries, but I'm black, so I'm speaking on black people. But yeah, like, the majority of foreigners here are actually from various poor Asian countries like India, the Philippines, Vietnam, China, etc. And I should also add that China is kind of like a weird country. It's developing. The main areas of China are developed. It's a first world country by those standards. But at the outskirts of China, the places like where you're going to find a factory, workers making 25 cents a day type places, those places are generally in the countryside. So, China's, huge, has tons of people. But, yeah, I'm done, you guys. Again, much love to Japan, but not everybody's dream is to live here forever, to die here, to work here. And for many people, that bubble was crushed and popped after coming here, and you realize, oh, it actually is not like those videos were saying. Actually, Rin, myself, was right. So I love this country, but even I feel questionable about, do I really want to live and die here? Like how I used to say. I was planning to give up my US passport when I first came, before I even came here. And even after I came here, I was adamant on the fact that I wanted to be buried here. But now I'm like, yeah, I'm good on that. I'll pass. So if life changes and things get better, I'm totally open for the idea of that, but I don't really feel like I want to even then, because for me, I feel proud of being an American. I love my country. It has its problems, but I feel like being in Japan gave me a newfound love and appreciation for being an American, because when I think about how awful my bad experiences have been here, and about how difficult it's been to make friends, to date for love and not for resources, and not for sex, but like actual love, and make friends, not to use them or for status, but to actually have a friendship and relationship with them. I just feel like I'm talking to cyborgs 90% of the time when I'm here. Like, I like the raw and realness of Americans, and I appreciate some aspects of the Japanese. For example, I like their group thinking over the individual. I feel like Americans are too selfish. We think too much of ourselves. We don't think or consider other people when we make decisions. So I do agree with Japan on that. I feel like being here has, helped me grow as a person. It's challenged my thinking and my mindset as an American, because I do not think we do everything right just because I'm an American. I think that we can learn a lot from the Japanese, but likewise, I think there's a lot the Japanese can learn from us. The difference is, I feel like Americans are more accepting to listening to what the Japanese think and believe, which is the reason why we have all these stupid YouTube videos and books talking about everything from Ikigai to, you can just put gold on stuff and make it new, making a bullshit like that. So we clearly embrace their culture, but the reverse cannot be said. And it's not just because they don't like it. Like, they have the mindset of, we are always right. They don't listen to nobody, and I don't like that. So anyway, I'm done. Love this place. It has its problems, but that's all for now. So yeah, leave your 2 cents down below. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you plan to live here forever? Have you found that like when you tell Japanese people like, actually, that scared me, sorry, my drink bottle in the trash just like popped. But yeah, like, do you find that when you tell people like, I love this place but I don't plan to stay forever, or even worse, God forbid, you say you don't love Japan, because everybody has to love it, right? And it's really funny because like as an American, like people see us as being cocky and conceited, but it's like the Japanese actually do everything that people accuse Americans of doing that we actually don't do. I've never seen an American get offended by somebody saying that they don't prefer America. In fact, we joke about how our country is worse than other countries, and many of us aren't even joking. We're really telling you that. I've never seen a Japanese person ever rant online about how horrible Japan is and how wonderful the US is. We constantly self-deprecate ourselves. So anyway, leave your 2 cents down below. Don't forget to like this channel, like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also consider supporting me on Patreon. The link for that is in the description box down below. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at comic95. The links for that are also in the description box down below. And check out my YouTube channel's homepage. I have videos on working, studying, dating, and living here in Japan. And yeah, I guess that's all for this video. So thank you so much for listening, and thank you for watching, and I hope you'll watch another video.